I wonder how many men know that the way that we carry ourselves matters just as much to women as it does how women carry themselves to us. The way that you portray yourself, the way that you dress, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you act out in public, it all matters to a woman, right? Especially a woman of God. And a lot of the things that we do can tempt a woman just as much as a woman can tempt us. And we are called to be the spiritual leaders of our family. So the way that you carry yourself matters more than you ever think it could, because the way that you carry yourself will be a determining factor of the type of wife that you attract. Listen to this video and we'll be right back.
I talk to the women of God about modesty, and it's only right that I talk to the men of God about modesty, because modesty is more than just what you wear. It's a mindset, it's a countenance, it's a demeanor. I talk to the women of God about modesty, and it's only right that I talk to the men of God about modesty, because modesty is more than just what you wear. It's a mindset, it's a countenance, it's a demeanor. Women have a flesh just like us, fellas. They're tempted to lust just like us. They enjoy sex just like us. I was talking to some fellow women of God yesterday, some sisters in Christ, and they informed me that for them, a man wearing his arms all out with cut off shirts and, you know what I'm saying, hoochie daddy shorts, for them, that is the equivalent to a woman having her breast and her butt out. I had no idea. And it gave me a whole new perspective and a new outlook, because now I realize there's a time and a place to wear certain stuff, and I can't just be out here wearing those kind of things because it tempts them to sexual thoughts. And regardless of how I feel about it, I have to be respectful of that. I have to. Because the word of God talks about if you cause another brother or sister to stumble, then you are just as wrong. So it is my job, it is my duty to look out for a person that's not myself, regardless of how I may view it. I may feel like me wearing that means nothing. But if she looks at me and says, ooh, dang, I'm wrong. If I know that it's going to make her think that way, if she told me that would cause her to fall short and I do it anyway, I'm wrong. And not only that, fellas, when it comes to our demeanor and the way that we carry ourselves, stop expressing interest in the kind of woman that you don't want to keep. There's no reason to be double tapping, commenting, sliding up on a woman who doesn't know how to display herself without displaying her temple. There's no reason. And in the past, I've been subject to that as well. So I'm speaking from a perspective of conviction. You know? I try to refrain from that now. It's not really that difficult anymore, but it was a fight for me, you know? And I want to encourage y'all, we can't continue to promote promiscuity, because no matter how many women say, I don't do this for men, I don't do what I do for men, at the end of the day, if she's sexually attracted to men and she's posting stuff that sexualizes herself, come on now. But you have to show her, I want a woman who honors and respects herself. A woman whose availability is not found in visibility. Because at the end of the day, what a woman of God should be doing anyway is pleasing God. It has nothing to do with man. So her modesty shouldn't even be for another man in the first place. And her immodesty shows that her mind is on the wrong thing. Because if it sure enough wasn't for God, so it must be for man. The moment that we stop making that acceptable and making that look like a preference is the moment that a lot of women will stop doing it. The moment that we stand up and show that what we want is a woman who puts God before us, that's when you'll start to get the results that you want. I know a lot of people probably didn't expect me to address men in this fashion, but the reason that I chose to make the video for men second was because I already knew what we needed to talk about. But I wanted to see the hypocrisy come from a lot of women, because I make a lot of videos that are in relation to what men need to do better, and I see a whole lot of hoopla, hollering, and amens in the comments. But the moment that I address what the women need to do better, all of a sudden, the knife that was used to fight for me has now been turned against me. And I don't have any hatred for you. I'm not even upset. I just want you to understand that by doing that, you're displaying yourself as the very same woman that the man of God does not want. And I understand that you do nothing for the male gaze, but at the same time, Maybe you're heterosexual, and one day you want a happy family with a husband, as you should. And the husband that you want is not gonna come from an Instagram post facing away from the camera. I can promise you that. Instead of getting the husband you want, you'll get the boyfriend you never needed. I'm telling you because I've been it before. I've been the guy who sexualized a woman far beyond what she needed to be sexualized, when she had a brain full of thoughts and ideas that could be productive towards a better society, but all I saw her for was her breast and her butt. It's sad, it's sickening, absolutely. But at the end of the day, what I want to do is address the men and women of God. It has nothing to do with anybody else. We can't blame them for their actions. We are the people that Christ is holding accountable. So why would we hold other people accountable to a moral compass that they don't have? Y'all be blessed.
Men, you cannot put out thirsty energy and not expect a bunch of dehydrated women to show up. And I see this a lot of times in these comment sections, specifically one video that I did addressing lust, and a woman had a tank top on. Now, me personally, I didn't see anything wrong with the video, right? Because I'm not looking at this woman in a sexualized manner, but this woman might have been somebody's type. So a lot of people made a comment about her tank top in the comment section. And it put it into perspective for me that just because she didn't mean to be tempting, or just because certain people don't mean to be tempting, doesn't mean that they're not. So we have to take it into control over what we put on our body. That's why I wear this big old Carhartt shirt. No one can tell that I work out. No one can tell that I go to the gym and I lift weights. But if you see me in person, you only see what's on this little square. But if you see me in person, you can definitely tell I work out. And so I don't put myself out here on social media to like, look at how swole I am. I don't do that. That's not the point. I go to the gym for myself because I like being in the gym. But when I'm at the gym, I got to guard my eyes because there's women with booty shorts on, women with pretty much stomach hanging out, legs hanging out, and they're showing off their curves because they put in a lot of work and they want people to notice it. But that's not the type of woman a godly man wants. A godly man wants a woman that knows that if she has a figure, that she's got to cover it up. My wife, blessed in the body department, blessed in her posterior region. But when she goes to church, she wears a long sweater that covers that thing up. And I'm thankful for that because I don't want any man lusting off my wife, and I don't want any man lusting off my wife's body. And when it comes down to it, the type of attention that you put out, if you are hitting on women that have no godly compass, if you're hitting on women that don't love the Lord, if you're hitting on women that flirt with other men, that's not going to be a woman that's going to be a good fit for a life partner. That's not going to be a good mother of your children. And there's women out here on Christian TikTok and on Christian YouTube that, twerk in their videos and they cuss and they do all this stuff. I don't care if you slap a Christian label on it. It's still not okay. Yes, God forgives. I'm not trying to be legalistic, but at the end of the day, there's a standard. There's a moral compass. There's a Proverbs 31 type of mentality that a man's looking for in a woman. And so we got to be godly men. We got to be men that hold the standard high, because to be a spiritual leader for your house, for your wife, that's a huge calling. That's a lot of pressure. God's going to hold you accountable. And so like when you give your woman back to God, you got to give her back better than you got her. And the same thing goes for the way that you carry yourself. The way that you come to God isn't how you stay. So as you walk with the Lord, your things that you do that are not godly characteristics, those things fall away in the purification process. So the way that you dress, the way that you speak, the way that you carry yourself, all of these things come more like Christ, the more that you walk with Christ. And so I encourage you, men, stop sliding into people's DMs that you don't need to be in. Stop hitting on a woman exclusively for the body type that she has. Stop going for looks. Go for the fruit. What does this woman's relationship with Jesus look like? What does her relationship with her brothers and her family look like? Do people hold her in high regard, or is she a loner because she's cut off all the bridges that she had from people around her? These are going to be things that you look for, and women look for the same thing in men. How does a man treat his mother? How does a man treat his sisters? He's got to have a good high standard and a respect for the women in his life, so you'll know that he has a respect for you in his life. And ultimately, guys, at the end of the day, we are called to be like Jesus. That's a high standard. That's a high calling. The bar is set pretty high. We will never be able to attain that, but we should definitely try our hardest to live to that standard. So that way, we're not leading anyone under our leadership astray. We're not being a stumbling block for anyone. We're not causing any one of these little ones to stumble. We're not causing any one of these little ones to sin. Because, guys, that's a huge responsibility that's placed on our shoulders. And we got to take that thing seriously, guys. So really hope that this message spoke to you guys. Modesty is something that both men and women need. But at the end of the day, we're supposed to be looking like Jesus anyway. And he was the most modest dude of all. So let me know what you guys thought about this video. Leave a comment down below in the comment section. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, God bless.